Welcome to Into the Night. I'm Nari, your guide on today's excursion down a twisted path. Be careful not to get lost. Be it dark or light, it's easy to lose your way. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Asking for a Friend, Part 2. Rodney was astounded.
Not only am I not crazy, what Mom does isn't just in my head, but Maggie wants me to keep writing her?
Rodney read every link in the resource section of her website, and soon he was sending weekly emails to Maggie about his progress. Their conversations branched into other areas: sibling rivalry, how to deal with unreasonable customers, what to do when a neighbor won't stop cutting the grass at 1 a.m, and any other excuse Rodney could find to write to Maggie. For the first time in years, Rodney felt hopeful. Each time he signed his emails the same way, asking for a friend. Eventually, Maggie asked him what his real name was, which he told her. As time went by, he and Maggie corresponded through private messages instead of over the Ask Maggie email address. Their private conversations were just that, private, and not material for the advice column. They shared their hopes, dreams, and daily lives with one another. And Maggie opened up about her childhood traumas too. My parents were overprotective when I was a little girl. While they were loving and supportive, unlike your mother, in their own way they stifled me. Dad was a pilot, and when I was 15, he died on a flight. Mom was devastated, and after that we became even more tight-knit. Instead of attending college, I earned my degree online. I always knew counseling was what I wanted to do. So I began the Ask Maggie website.
You're a great counselor. I guess in some ways we're a lot alike.
Maggie and he talked several times a day, and she helped him navigate his mother's emotional landmines. Rodney's mother's behavior hadn't improved, but his reactions to her had. Arming himself with coping strategies, he now saw that his mother was the victim of a dysfunctional household growing up. It was an ugly generational curse that he intended to not perpetuate.
It doesn't make her behavior okay, but at least I know it's not me. I'm not crazy. I'm not overly emotional. I'm just convenient for her to harangue. I won't make the same mistake when I have a family.
Rodney hoped one day he could be a father, even though he realized that possibility was a long shot. He looked around his basement office and sighed.
What woman would be interested in this?
Thanks to Maggie, he felt more confident. Even his online business improved. Everything was better, in fact. He sat straighter and took more pride in his appearance. He handled irate customers without losing his cool, and supply chain issues didn't fluster him anymore. Following Maggie's advice, his relationship with his sister and the next-door neighbor became tolerable too. Life was finally meaningful, and Rodney liked the change.
I don't have to tell you that I don't have much of a social life. You already know that,
he confided in Maggie one day.
Ever since we moved to Chicago when I was a small child, I've never fit in.
Neither do I. I'm not a social butterfly.
I don't understand how that can be. You're so easy to talk to. Unlike me, who's always been too shy to meet people. You always know just what to say. People love you and your column.
Oh, Rodney, I suffer from my own insecurities, just like everyone else does. In fact, while I help other people with their problems, you're the first person in years who has asked how I am doing. Most people tell me their struggles with no interest in my own. No one outside my immediate family has paid attention to how I am.
I'm here for you anytime you need someone. I promise I'll always care how you are.
As the weeks and months went by, the two grew closer. Rodney, I don't think people understand me. I feel like an outsider here, like there's no one else on earth who gets me. Well, that wasn't until I met you.
I feel the same way about you.
Rodney's chest pounded, but he knew he had to ask.
Do you think someday we could meet in person? I'm not much to look at, and I'm afraid I will scare you off, but I'd like to meet you in real life.
3 dots showed up in the chat, but then disappeared. After a few excruciating moments, just as Rodney kicked himself for ruining everything with his stupid request, she typed once again. Rodney held his breath. I would love to meet you, but I'm afraid you won't like me once you see me. No one besides my family has called me pretty since we moved here years ago. I stay home and focus on my online counseling sessions with clients, but I rarely go out. I'm embarrassed by how I look. Rodney's confidence returned, and his heart ached for Maggie. He understood not feeling attractive.
Let's do this. We both want to meet. Tell me the time and place, and I'll be there.
Really?
Yes, really. Boy, am I stepping out of my comfort zone. This is too big to pass up, though.
The two agreed on a meeting spot, a quiet stretch of scenic river, halfway through where they each lived. Rodney arrived first, and then he spent the next 15 minutes nervously pacing back and forth.
What if she takes one look at me and runs? Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe I should just leave.
A gasp behind him made him turn. Maggie stood a few feet away next to a towering oak. Her mouth gaped open in shock. Rodney stood frozen in place. Maggie tried to get more words to form, but none came out.
Maggie, you are absolutely stunning.
Rodney slowly approached her.
I never thought I'd meet someone like you.
She brought her hand to her mouth. Rodney stopped walking.
Damn it, she thinks I'm hideous. This was a mistake.
He turned to leave. Wait, don't go.
Don't you think I'm ugly?
Ugly? No. You're the most handsome man I've ever met. They stared into each other's eyes. Then Rodney rushed to her. He embraced her in his arms, all 6 of them. Oh, Rodney, I thought I was all alone on this planet. I thought my family and I were the only ones like us who had come to Earth. A tear dropped from one of Maggie's eye stalks. Rodney laughed and spun her around.
I was so lonely when I sent you that first email, but we don't have to be lonely anymore.
I was lonely too, and I felt an immediate connection with you. Now I know why.
I've gotten more than I asked for. I know that much.
What do you mean?
When I signed those emails asking for a friend, I wasn't really looking for advice for a friend. I was asking for a friend. I was asking for someone to be my friend.
Maggie looked up at him.
You don't want to be my friend, Maggie?
No. Now tears fell from his eye stalks. I don't want to be just friends, Rodney. I want to be more than friends.
So do I.
They kissed and laughed and practically floated on air. The happy couple from that moment forward never felt lonely again. The romantic walk they took along the riverside that day was the beginning of a long lifetime together. Rodney, with Maggie's help, succeeded in breaking the cycle of abuse, and not even his mother could complain about that. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Into the Night Anthology podcast, written by Caroline Giammanco, narrated by Nari, theme music by Nico Rodriguez. You can find our links in the show notes. Into the Night is on your favorite podcatcher, so make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a 5-star review to help other excursionists to join us. I'll see you next time, and remember, whether in the shadows or in the daylight, all twisted paths lead you into the night. Hi, excursionists. I'm so glad you stayed. If you ever wonder what I'm working on when I'm not here, you can find my current and past projects at narinarrates.com. That's also where you can sign up to be a story in my library, where every story somehow finds its way back home.